Hi guys, Redneck Wannabe here. I hope all is well with you and your family today. So a friend of mine, Mark at I Am Organics, asked me to do this video, and I don't know how it's going to turn out. It's going to be over the span of a couple weeks, but I'll explain what I'm doing and we'll go from there, okay? So back that garden over there, it is probably about 12 inches. Well, actually both of the gardens have about 12 inches of wood chips in them, okay? And over there, Arminda and Mark both suggested that after we dug the trench, that we dig or pull out a little bit more, about a 45-degree angle this way and a 45-degree angle that way, just to give more light, heat, ventilation, what have you, down into the rows. Well, Mark and I were talking, and he's like, you know, it'd be interesting if you just left the rows as they were, but put a mini kind of a hoop house on it and just see what happens. So that's what I did. I haven't done anything here. Whenever we dug the trench, I did rake some of the wood chips back just so they didn't fall in, but I haven't done the 45-degree angle. So what I did is, you can see, let's find some place. All right, so I had some welded wire, long enough to not want to get rid of, but short enough to where I'm like, man, what am I going to do with this? But I figured eventually I'm going to find a use for it. So here we go. So I put the welded wire down first, just to keep the plastic from sinking in on in the rows. So I put the welded wire down, then we put the plastic down and put the T-post there to keep it from blowing away. Now, all of this is stuff that I've had from previous use. The plastic, a few years ago, I made some hoop houses at the house, and I didn't understand really how everything worked, because I planted in the raised beds and I built these hoop houses, and I thought, man, I'm gonna have, you know, lettuce and cabbage and kale and all that throughout the winter. And I just didn't understand that if it freezes outside, it's gonna freeze inside as well. Just maybe not as hard, maybe not as long, but it's still gonna freeze. So I just really didn't understand hoop houses. So this plastic I've had since a few years ago. And so, you know, we'll put down the welded wire, we put down the plastic. I have cut a few holes in the plastic just to give it some ventilation, because if not, my thinking is, if, you know, and I don't know how far this is, let's just say 20, 25 feet. My thinking is, if we have a real sunny day, things in the hoop house are just going to get fried. And I just picked up the thermometer, because I had the thermometer in the row, and it says right now it's 60 degrees. That's because it's been in the pocket of my hoodie, but it was 50 degrees. So, or it was 50 degrees laying in the soil temperature. That's how I had it. So it was 50 degrees right there. So my assumption is all of the rows are 50 degrees. Now, the last week, our highs have been 50, 55. Lows have been high 20s, low 30s, something like that. So, it's been cold enough to where, you know, you really can't plant anything. But I put some cover crops. I have bought some alfalfa seed. And honestly, I way overbought. So I've got a little bit of alfalfa seed that I can play with. So I figure, you know, if worst comes to worst, I've lost 10 bucks. But these three rows, so here, here, and here, I have an alfalfa. But, you know, just this is the only row that I have a row cover. So next week it's supposed to jump back up into the 60s and low 70s for the high temperatures. It is, right now it's January 28th, so we still have some frost days. We'll just see. So hopefully the deep trenches will keep the frost off this alfalfa to, you know, just to let it grow and flourish. So we'll see. So, like I said, it's probably going to be a couple weeks, but this video will continue here soon. And thanks for watching. I appreciate y'all. Bye. Hi guys, here's part 2 of the, I don't know, redneck row cover, I guess you'd call it. I don't know. So, if you'll recall, it's either 10, 14 days, something like that. I planted this alfalfa in 3 rows, and one of those rows I did a little bit of a row cover, and my thinking was it was in middle of March, middle of January, and I was thinking, you know, we're still due for a lot of cold weather, but we haven't had it. So since I planted, it's been high 50s a few days. Most of those days have been in the 60s and 70s. Now, when I planted it, I watered it one time. And so I watered it and walked away. And so, like I said, we're 10, maybe 14 days into it. So we've had unseasonably warm weather. So there's really been no need for a row cover, but I haven't looked at it yet, so we're going to look at it together. But the cool thing that I think is I've planted the alfalfa, I watered it once, we haven't had any rain, nothing. And all I did was I just took the seed, which is really very small seed, and I just sprinkled it in the row. I watered it and walked away. And so 10 to 14 days later, this is what we have. So if you'll recall, the soil temperature when we planted was 50 degrees. So now that's what it says. Now granted, it's kind of in the sun, but it has been sitting out here for a little bit to acclimate, I guess. But you know, the soil temperature in this little valley, well, I'm not saying, not the soil temperature, the surface temperature is 80 degrees. So today it's 70 something. So sorry, one hand, we'll get this thing. Actually, you know what, I'm going to go over here because the wind is blowing this way, and it'll make it easier to, but all I've done was, there are some holes, see right there, so you can see, hopefully you can see, where I put holes to let things breathe. So, here it is. So it looks like, hopefully you can see all that, it looks like in here, it's done a whole lot better than it has outside, just because I would assume the temperature difference. So sorry, I have the sniffles today. So looks like that did pretty good. So again, this was my friend Mark with I Am Organic. Just wanted, he was wondering what it would look like. So there you go. I don't know. Is it a success? Is it a failure? I don't know. But redneck row covers, but unseasonably warm weather too. So I hope this helps. I hope you enjoy it, and I appreciate y'all. Y'all take care. Bye.